Happy Wednesday, winners. It is our favorite day of the week, and you are now tuned in to another weekly episode of the Ladies in Motion podcast, Talk It Out, where we shine light on women that's winning in the local community. I'm your host, Madam Walker, and I am super excited about today's episode. It's the last Wednesday of May, so we're shining light on mom bosses, and there's no other person to close out these interviews with the mom boss herself. She's the founder of that mom club, and just so much more. She wears many hats, and today we're gonna just shine light on this queen. Okay, I need you all to welcome. I'm gonna let her introduce herself. Her name is Eleni Arguello. Make some noise. Welcome. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. It is an honor to be here, and I appreciate you putting this platform together, especially shouting out and showcasing moms in such a beautiful way.
For real, listen. Moms are the ultimate woman that is winning. I'm telling you, this brand is inspired by so many of the great women that I have in my life. I always tell my mom, like, Mom, you an OG lady in motion. Like, you didn't even know. You was an LIM before LIM was a thing.
Exactly.
So shout out to you. Thank you for coming. I want to have you just briefly just introduce yourself. A quick, this is who I am, this is where I'm from, yada, yada, yada.
Yes. So my name is Eleni Arguello. I am the founder of That Mom Club. It is a mommy community here in Atlanta, but we have moms all over the world. We just have our monthly meetups here in Atlanta. I lost 70 pounds naturally. It was one of the biggest transformations of my life. I left my husband of 20 years. It was the second big transformation of my life. I have 4 children. Three of them live in Dominican Republic, and they will be here soon. So I'm very, very excited.
Thank you so much. And I love that for you. You know, this platform is just about allowing women to share their story and how they got started in the lane that they're in now, and share some of the success with us, the good, the bad, the ugly. Because a lot of people, and it's so crazy. I was just talking to my Uber driver yesterday, telling her about the podcast, that this is what we're going to be doing. And I was telling her that she was saying, everybody, when you get in entrepreneurship, they make it seem like it's so easy. Like on social media, they make it seem like it's just so easy. And I was like, girl, my platform is to let people know, like, hey, it's not easy, but we are going to keep marching forth, though. We are going to keep marching boldly in our purpose, even when it gets hard, even when it gets shaky, Absolutely. So thank you for just being willing to share your story.
Thank you for having me. And I do want to say, it probably looks easy because we're so passionate.
Right.
We're so passionate about what we do, about the people that we serve, about the stories that we hear, we just met.
We literally just met. We're going to tell y'all.
Yeah. So that's why it may seem easy. It's not that it's easy, but it's something that we push ourselves to do no matter what. And no matter what comes our way, right? The days before, we make it happen. And that's the beautiful thing about us.
And that's why I'm excited about this. So that's why I know this is special. Yes. We just met. Shout out to London King. Okay.
That's my girl.
London is amazing. She had an event on the 18th of May. It was Mimosas in Business, and
it was beautiful.
And I honestly, I signed up for the event to be a volunteer.
Really?
So that's how I was there. I was there with serving food. So I was supposed to do assistance on the carpet, but I'm also a restaurant manager outside of here. That's my 9 to 5.
Nice.
Yeah, so I work a lot of hours, honestly. It does. I took a day off last week, and I still worked 40 hours last week. Okay.
Wow.
So neither here nor there. That's why I met her, and they was like, listen, we're kind of short here, but we think with your expertise there that you'll be an asset here. And it was so nice just being a part of such a pivotal event.
Yes.
Where people are inspired and empowered, and just to be a part of the crew that if I could make this easy for you, I was happy to do that. That's just who I am. So at this event, though, that's where I met Miss Eleni, and they were giving away trademarks at this event. They had the biz lawyer in the building who I've been following for some years, you know,
She's
before I even moved here to Atlanta. She is amazing, you know. So I've been following these women. So to just be in the room to volunteer, but also still able to network.
Yes.
Where I met you.
Yes.
You were slaying, you look so good, you had your dress. I'm like, what? Who? She won this? I gotta know who she is. And we went to speaking, and I told you about the podcast, and I was you know, closing shining light on mom bosses, and I found out you were the mom club founder.
Mom club, yes.
I'm like, listen, this is meant. I'm gonna connect with her, so I'm super excited to have you here. I think this is intentional, and it is a divine connection. Okay.
Yes. I do want to say about London. So I met London in, I think it was December, and it was like a quick, like, hey. I met her through Candace, Six Figure Spot Chick.
Okay.
And then we kind of took a selfie. I love selfies with people I just met. Like, that's what I always do. Yes. So she started following me, and I started following her on Instagram, and she is such an amazing supporter.
She is.
Like, she's an encourager, and she sees you, and she sees the work that you're doing. So definitely, yeah, shout out to London for putting the event together, but really for being who she is.
Seriously.
Being so genuine. I love her.
I love that. And I genuinely just thank God for women who are being who they are. And in the midst of them being who they are, they're able to curate experiences like this.
Yes.
You know, like she doesn't have to have that event. But y'all, let me tell you, since we're here, that event was amazing. You know, I've been here 4 years now, right? But this is the first year that I've been here and been just really, really intentional. Like I would say this is the first year I've been really intentional with me, really intentional with my business, my brand, being consistent, you know, putting myself out there, being uncomfortable, you know, learning to be comfortable in uncomfortable spaces, you know. And so
rebuilding yourself.
Rebuilding myself.
That's where I'm at. Yeah.
And I love it though, because you know, I just remember going to events last year, even at the beginning of this year, it made me just not knowing too many people yet because I'm just putting myself in these places.
Right.
But at this event, it was amazing because I ran into Alyssa King. Shout out to Alyssa, who I grew up with in Florida.
Oh, wow. And you ran into her here?
Ran into her here.
Wow.
Yeah, I was her dance coach in church. Like I taught dance coach. So she was my she was one of my students. So I ran into her and was like, what are the odds?
Right.
But we're all in a season of being serious about the rooms that we're in, the connections that we're making.
It's so important.
It's so important
that we're in connections and the people.
And I can't wait to talk about something because you said it on your live last night, just being intentional about people that we give our access to us.
Oh my God, yes.
So we're going to talk about all of that today.
I'm ready. Let's do it.
It's going to be so good. We're going to talk about all that today. Also at that event, I ran into Christy St. Cyr, another girl from Polk County, Florida, my hometown.
Really?
Yes, I ran into her there. She also invited me.
Alignment.
Yes, it was alignment, nothing but alignment. I recently joined the Wealth Academy. We sell life insurance, annuities, all that kind of stuff. Just prep you for what's sure to come. And all of us have to reach that, unfortunately. But I joined that, and then I seen Christy there and the whole team. And so they recognized me, like, you were just at our meeting on Saturday, right? Oh, we're happy to see you. So that even just reassured me, like, you know what, I'm glad I joined this group of women because obviously they're showing that they're intentional about the connections that they make in the buildings that they enter. And that's what I'm on, you know, too.
Absolutely. Your environment is so important.
Bro, it was such a great, and then I ran into Tarika Coney from Polk County, Florida, bro.
Yes.
I thought I was tripping. Listen, I ran into her. I said, damn, I was looking at her. I said, this lady looks like a lady from my hometown. And another lady said, I don't know. I don't think she's from Florida. So I just was like, okay, yeah, maybe I am tripping. Mm-hmm. I get on social media and I seen that she was there. And I said, yo, I know I seen you there, you know. And so I said all that to say that me being in that room and seeing people that I know, Millicent Reed, a woman on my podcast, Hazel, who's been featured on the podcast, Queen Afton been featured on the podcast, who also has a sister circle. They took a group picture, and I was in the middle of serving. They said, wait a minute, go get Mercedes. We got to go get Madam, because she's a part of the sisterhood. So, you know, to just be in that room, it did something to me, you know, and it brought us together. So I'm just super grateful for this interview and what's to come. I really, really am. Do you have anybody you'd like to shout out? Again, just before we get going, because I cannot wait. This is gonna be so good.
So I always shout her out. At a time where when I moved to Atlanta, I didn't know any. I knew one friend from high school, and I knew my coach. But my coach ended up moving she ended up moving to Miami. So I didn't know anybody else. I don't have any family here, no close ties. So at a time where I did not know what my next step was, somebody I started hanging out with, Six Figure Spot Chick, Candace Holyfield. She is somebody who, yes. I mean, if y'all don't know her, please look her up. She always says, Google me, Six Figure Spot Chick. She has been an instrumental part in my journey, especially here in Atlanta. She is a brand ambassador for that mom club. And she's like, I call her the community leader. Whenever I'm like, okay, I don't know which direction to go, I don't know what to do, I know I can always call her and count on her to be able to guide us. Because of who she is, because of her expertise, because of her experience, and because of her success. Everything that she's done in Atlanta and worldwide is amazing. So I am very honored to be able to, to have her on our team in so many aspects. And of course, I know maybe my mom will see this, maybe she won't, but my mom is my biggest supporter of my children. Shout out to my mom, to my kids. I have 4 children, like I said. My oldest is in Texas, the other 3 are in DR. And just seeing them like through FaceTime and on phone, but really understanding that, and we'll talk more about that mom club. But at the end of the day, all the decisions that we filter for our children, and in our life are for our children. All whether they're here or not. Like I wake up in the morning, they're not here, and I'm like, okay, I gotta get to work because I know they coming, or I know they gonna need me. So shout out to definitely my children, my mom, my family, to my support system. They've made it happen. There's one thing that I've never lacked is support, y'all.
Amen.
Support, and I'm so grateful. So grateful.
That's a blessing. Yes. So shout out to your mom, shout out to your family, and shout out to Candace. I interviewed Brittany Johnson. I interviewed BJ, and also Candace was her shout out. So just to hear your name, Candace, we gotta get you on the show. The ultimate woman that's winning. So shout out to you, Candace. I love that. Sisterhood, just community, tribe. We've been talking about that. A village. All that is so important. Okay. So I got to just unravel your story. Okay. I'm just curious to know about it. I like to start this interview with asking people to take us back to the beginning. Take us back to the beginning of adulthood for you. So I like to go 18, 19, you just graduated high school. Because at that age, you think you know it all, though. You do. Right. I'm grown because you done reached 18. That's like
you legal.
So you legally grown, but everything else you realize, at this age, it's like, dang, 18 is not grown. Now I get it. But I'm just curious to know, what was your mindset like when you were that age? Did you even see yourself being a founder of your own business and brand that you're pushing? Was the plan to go? Was it to go get your education right away, or did you just not know? I'm just curious to know, what do you think? Take me back to young 18-year-old Eleni and see, what was the vision that you seen maybe for yourself? And is it anything like the lane you're in now?
So, great question. And great starting point as well.
Yeah.
So, 18-year-old Eleni, real quick, I met my ex-husband when I was 13 years old.
Wow.
So we were on and off the whole time.
Met where?
We met in New York.
Okay.
We met in New York. So we were on and off the whole time. So at 18, I was a very good student. Very good student. Probably like high B's, A student. And then college was non-negotiable. Like my mom made it non-negotiable.
Okay.
Like, you have good grades, you're going to college.
Okay.
We had we're not from here. So I'm the first of the family to graduate. I have a bachelor's. Thank you. So I'm the first in the family to graduate. So at that age, I knew I had to go to college, and I've always been like this. I applied to one college. It was the only school I was going to go to, y'all.
I love it.
They had to accept me because I didn't apply anywhere else. So I applied to one college. I got in, and I did the first year. Everything was smooth. It was still in New York. It was in Long Island, so like a little far off from where I live, but still in New York, not too far from mom. However, that first year I got pregnant with my first baby.
Okay.
And still, me and my husband, we ended up living, and me and my ex-husband, we ended up living together. And we were together. I got pregnant with him. I failed that semester, y'all, because when I get pregnant, I get so tired, right? I got so tired, so I failed that semester. And I stopped going. I dropped out of school to be with my baby. I started working. And it's funny because I just said this on live the other day. I knew I was going to go back to school at some point, but I did not make it. I didn't make it a priority. And one day my mom said to me, she said, well, you already had a baby. You'll never finish school.
And that was the push you needed, huh?
I'm like, excuse me? So I went back to school, y'all. I did 3 years of school in a year and a half. I went to school summer, spring, fall, winter. I did not take a break. So 3 years of school I finished in a year and a half, and I got my bachelor's degree.
So I want to talk about that. So you obviously have been with this person since you were 13 years old. You're coming into adulthood. You find out you're pregnant. Was that planned? Like, is that what you wanted for yourself? Because sometimes it's like that. I've been with this person for a long time. I know people like that, and they're like, no, we knew we were going to be together. Literally, I have her name in my head. I want to say her name, but she's from my hometown. And her and her husband now, they are having their first son. But they've been having so many girls up to this point, and they knew, like, right after high school, even like in high school, they were talking about like, no, we want to start a family early, just get out the way. That's just how they were, Right. So was that the plan for you, or was it just something that happened, but you just learned to just roll with the punches as life, throws it with you? Yeah.
So it wasn't necessarily the plan, but I was in love, so we were having a baby, so I was good,
right?
I wouldn't say I necessarily planned it for that time, especially because I had just started college.
Right.
I probably would have waited a little bit. But my son, my oldest, he's an entire. We would need a whole nother podcast for
to
that.
talk about the oldest alone.
Yeah. But I wouldn't say it was a plan. But I love my husband. My ex-husband at the time. My ex-husband. So I would have. I got pregnant. We just made it happen.
And you made it work. I love that. So your motherhood journey started pretty young then. Okay. 20 years old.
Yes.
Okay. So 20 years old, you enter into motherhood, and then your mom said, hey, you did this, and you're not going to be able to finish. And that motivated you.
Failure. I'm sorry. Run that back.
Hey, hold up, mama. Don't play.
Don't do that. So, yeah.
What's your sibling dynamic like? You have siblings?
So I have 2 older brothers and an older sister, but they're a lot older. So like the one before me is 11 years older than me.
Oh wow.
So I was really raised like an only child.
Okay, I see.
So like they would always be my guardians. And my sister played a huge part in my upbringing as well. Because when we moved here to the States, my mom worked 2 jobs, like a lot of immigrant parents.
Right.
So her working 2 jobs, I stayed with my sister. So my sister was a huge part of my upbringing as well.
And so my question to you is, what did you end up going to school for? Like, what did you study and major in? And you mentioned that you're the first generation college graduate.
Yeah.
Did you feel that pressure then? Even, after you stopped and your mom told you that, did you feel like, I just want to know, did you feel any type of pressure? And you're the baby, which is crazy. I'm just curious to know what that was like for you, just with the pressure and the influences in your siblings. And also, again, what did you study and why did you decide?
So, I always felt pressure. My mom always, by her comment, I could tell she was a pressure lady.
Right.
So I always felt pressure. But she actually made it normal. So there's kids who, did not graduate high school, and in my head it didn't make no sense, right? Because it was like, what do you mean? Like, that's what you do,
right?
My mom she just made it normal. So it wasn't like I was pressured to go to college. It was normal for me to go to college, right? So I always wanted to be a teacher, y'all. I ended up being a teacher years later. I always wanted to be a teacher, but I realized I do not have patience. I did not have patience at that time. at that time. Yeah, but I made it happen. So I majored in psychology. No, I majored in social work. My first year, I majored in social work, and then I wanted to major in something broader so I could have more options when I did graduate. So I majored in psychology when I went back. So when I graduated with my bachelor's, it was a major in psychology.
Okay, I see. Yes. Okay, that's just good to know because I feel like in some ways, like you're a wellness coach. You use your major, you use that psychology major just and in other ways. And just analyzing people and learn how to deal with different type of people and recognizing the different characteristics in people, So I'm not surprised, you know. Yes. So I'm curious to know, after you graduated college, okay, you were already a mom. When did motherhood, when did you have your second child? Were you already done with school?
So I was very intentional about that. I wanted to make sure that I finished school before I had my second child. So yes, I finished school and I wanted a girl because we had a boy, so I wanted a girl. So that one was very intentional. Yes, that one was planned out. In a way, it was more intentional than the first. So yeah, I had my second child after I finished school.
And it was a girl like you wanted.
Yes, it was a girl. That's my girl.
So
her name is Karma, actually.
No way.
Yeah, her name
is
Karma. I love
that. Karma with a K.
Yes, with a K.
Super cute, super cute. So I just want to ask, being that you were a mom and you were 20, and that is kind of young, and you now have that mom club. I feel like just this from the outside looking in. Like, I've been watching the show on Netflix. Okay, one of the women on the show is a mommy blogger. Okay. So one of the new moms is like, look at Sherry. Sherry has it all figured out because she mom blogs, And so you have that mom club. So I'm just curious to know, like, when you first entered into motherhood, did you, was it overwhelming? How did you even find that balance at first? I feel like you were meant to be a mom. I do feel like that.
Thank you.
I do. And again, I just met you, but again, when I met you, you immediately told me about your children. You were just proud of your mom club. And again, the proof is in the pudding. Just what you do. So obviously, you were meant to be a mom, and you were meant to create a community for moms. So so I love that. But I just want to talk about the beginning stages of motherhood for you. How did you find that balance of motherhood? And being so young, because it can mature you, I guess. I'm not sure because I'm not a mom, but I'm just wanting to hear it from you.
So one thing that we always talk about as moms is there is no balance. And I think because I had my son so young, it was again something that was kind of normal in my life. But also, even before I had my first, I call them the core 9. I had 9 nieces and nephews.
Oh, wow.
So my first niece was born when I was 7 years old.
Okay.
And it was the most exciting time of my life. So it was like, and they just kept coming and coming and coming. And then, very proud of her. Very proud of all my nieces and nephews. Like the core 9, successful children. I think only one of them has kids, but she's married, has her home. Just beautiful, beautiful. So the core 9 were kind of like my kids before I had my kids.
Okay.
So all the aunties that talk about the rich auntie, I know exactly where y'all at. I know exactly. That's you. Exactly.
I'm the rich auntie right now.
And then there was the 2, I was a little older. I was like around 16, 17 when they were born. They were a few months apart. I basically took them in. Like I prepared, I did birthday parties and I did all of this. So I don't know, you when you said you were meant to be a mom, I guess so, because I had a lot of motherly instincts with my nieces and nephews. So when it was time to have my own son, and take care of my own son, it was something I gradually walked into. Because I had already been around children and my siblings were already, my sister, like I said, was a huge part of it. But it was a lot of sacrifices, when I had my own, because I couldn't drop him off anywhere. It was a lot of sacrifices, but it was an immense amount of love. Like your first, the love you have for your first, it does not compare.
Really?
No matter what. I love all my children, but my first, he made me a mom. He taught me so much.
For sure.
I had to change and adjust and figure things out for him, because of him, with him. So it's an immense shift when you're a mom and you naturally just start figuring things out. Um, he was, like I said, it would be a whole nother podcast, but we went through a lot of challenges with him. And
like what?
He
For example,
taught me.
You don't have to go deep, but just
I could go
for
deep.
example, yeah.
He taught me really to. He was probably one of the. I mean, it's my personality anyway to do what I feel is best and stand on it. But since he was 9 months old, we started struggling. I remember he like bit the whole thing of the crib.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like he was eating like the wood.
Really?
Very hyperactive since he was very young. Very steadfast in what he wanted to do. He didn't talk until he was 4.
Okay.
So we had to do speech therapy. When he started school, it was a lot of challenges.
Yeah.
So we've never got him tested. But if we did, they would probably say he had ADHD, ODD, which is defiant disorder.
Right.
Even when he started elementary school, like I had to work so closely with the teachers,
right? Because
I was not going to allow my son to be pulled into the education system and me not do anything about it. And today we actually, I didn't want to get into this part, but when I left my husband 2 years ago, y'all, I literally that was the second transformation of my life. When I left my husband 2 years ago, this is so hard to talk about it publicly like this.
Yes, take your time.
So I decided to leave my husband because I knew, and one of the reasons why I left him was because I decided to leave him because I knew it was time to go.
Yeah.
So one of the reasons I left him was abuse.
Really?
It was physical abuse. The weekend before I left, it was this whole thing. I do believe I could have lost my life.
Wow.
If I could have lost my life that weekend, and if I would have stayed, I could have probably lost my life. But and I know that a lot of women may struggle with this, so it's a very touchy subject, and I don't like sharing too much of it because I feel like, damn, how did I allow myself to that point?
Right.
But it's like you have to share, Eleni, because there's so many women who are going through it,
for sure,
and they have not stepped out and have not survived it like you have. Which is that's why it's one of the biggest transformations of my life. However, the day I decided to leave my husband, not only did I leave my husband, but my son stayed with him against my will. Right? So, and it caused this, now we have an estranged relationship. I don't talk to him a lot. And it's one of the hardest things that I have to deal with every single day.
Yeah.
My everything, the one who taught me everything, the one that I have, that I sacrificed so much for. I don't talk. I can't pick up the phone and call him and he'll answer. I can't go to Texas and, hey, I'm here. Let's go hang out.
Yeah.
It's not that. It's not that right now. And I know a lot of people are gonna say, oh, it'll get better. He'll come around. But right now, it don't feel like that. The pain that I have right now because of that, it doesn't feel like that. So I forgot what the question was.
I'm just glad that you share all that because as you were speaking, so many things crossed my mind. Number one, I think about that oldest, like you said. So there's 4 of us. My mom has 4 children. I'm the only girl, and I'm the third born. But my oldest is something about him too. Every time his birthday comes around, I message him probably like. Something about his birthday is so special to me because that's what made my mom a mom. Right. So even I can recognize that, and he didn't come from my womb, but the fact that you said that, something like the firstborn, but it's something about my brother, his birthday. I love his birthday because that's what made our mom a mom, and I also feel like my mom was a person that was meant to be a mom. Yeah. I do also. Cause she's just amazing. She's everyone's mom too. We always had the neighborhood house. We had the community house. All the kids come over to our house. So when you were speaking, that stood out to me. But I also thought about, maybe the imperfections between my mom and my oldest brother's relationship because they've been through when my mom went through her divorce. It's so crazy. Really, but it was through the divorce, that their relationship was whatever. And then I hear my brother, I hear his opinion sometimes. I was like, I've never, that's never even crossed my mind.
Right.
Some of the stuff that crosses mine has never even crossed my mind at all.
Because so my oldest, while he went through a lot with us. My ex-husband and I relationship has always been rocky. We've always tried to make it work, but it's always been rocky. So he went through a lot with us. He saw a lot that the other three have never seen or experienced.
For sure.
So, for him, I don't know about your story and your parents, but I can see how a lot of times the oldest carry a lot because they saw a lot.
Yeah.
And they were part of such a growth and challenging time. And even though we try to make it work and do the best that we can, at the same time, it doesn't negate everything that they went through. Right? So I don't excuse my son's behavior now. I really don't understand it. I don't understand. Yeah. How dare you choose your dad over me? Hello? How dare you? But, and one thing I do want to say is he's a teenager. He's 15 now. So when I left, he was 13. I don't necessarily agree, but it could be the best situation for him that he's with his dad at this age while, I'm kind of building myself,
Yeah.
So I don't, it doesn't make me feel any better to say that, but I will acknowledge that is a possibility. That, he's with his dad and he needs that man figure and he needs that authority. Because when I tell you my son is strong in personality, oh my God, but he's an amazing football player. So I'll give it, so we need to strengthen all of it. He's an amazing football player.
Oh my gosh, I love that, and I wanted to touch briefly on something because you said your son, I just want to know, how is he doing now? He's 15 and I have to ask this because I have one of my really good friends. She's also been on this show before in the early ages of this podcast. Beautiful. But her daughter also is nonverbal. She's about 4 or 5, something right now. But I'm curious to know, and one of my really good friends right now, her daughter was nonverbal up until she was like 3. She just kind of slowly started speaking. But when I tell you I light up when I hear her speaking so much because I just remember a time of her not speaking. So it's such a blessing to see. So just you being a mom whose son is 15, if you could give my girl some hope, maybe, or just whatever, just what is he like now? Is he speaking now? Yeah, you say he's strong, full of personality. Oh my God. I love to hear that, and if you could tell me what that was like just navigating as a mom, your child is not speaking at 4, at an age where society would say they normally are. I'm just curious to know how you went through that as a mom. What did you do for your strength? Because, it's not easy. I know it's not easy because it's your baby. Right. So I'm just curious to know, for the people that are listening that can relate, because there's many of them that can relate. Also, again, another one of my classmates, he's a male, but his he told me his son was nonverbal also, and he was almost like 4, but about 3, almost 4. So I just hear that so often, but I don't know anyone that has an older child that said they start out that way. So I'm curious for you to just kind of share that, give some motivation and encouragement to the moms that's doing it, because they out here.
Yeah.
Yes.
My biggest thing was I was always biased towards my son. So I never looked at what they told me about him. He started talking when he was 4. Let me say that. So he did get speech therapy. He started talking when he was 4. And one thing I always did was I found the best teachers for him, or I found the best support for him. So usually what happens is they'll give you a speech therapist, and here's the speech therapist. You may like her, you may not. You may see that she does well, you may not. But because that's the one they gave you, then that's the one you stick with. Right. I didn't do that. If it was somebody, if I didn't feel that she was good for my son and his progress, I would speak up about it. When he was even in elementary school, when he was in pre-K, kindergarten, first grade, if I did not see that the teacher or his support system was going to be ideal for him, I would speak up about it. That's right. And then I would never look at your child like there's something wrong with him, because really what they're doing is measuring him up to us, or measuring the child up to a certain standard. And it does not always have to be like that. He talks, my ex-mother-in-law used to be like, she used to laugh because she was like, oh my God, this kid didn't talk till he was 4. Now he doesn't shut up. He's always talking. So funny. Always talking. So yes, he at once like he had a very very good speech therapist. That's when he started talking very well. You know, he speaks well. But I'm saying like the support part, find good support. Please be an advocate for your child. Like there's so many parts to my story. When I tell you I sat in so many meetings with staff and district managers, and I would it would just be me. Like now we have special education advocates, but it would just be me, and I would go home and I would do all my research and I would figure things out, and I would come and I would be equipped at these meetings. I never went in there allowing them to decide what was going to be good for my son.
I know that's right.
I never did. So for anybody who's dealing with that, I want you to know that please find the right support for them and believe in your child more than anything, more than anything at all. That's because great. We are their first advocates. They can't speak up for themselves. We have to. And I'm very, very passionate about that.
I love to hear that. And so I want to ask you, like, because this is a two-part question. What have you discovered about yourself through motherhood that you maybe just didn't know then? And then my mom used to say all the time, like, there's no playbook for this motherhood thing. There's no rule book. So I don't know if I'm doing this right. I don't. Your grandma Ruby, she probably didn't do it right. But I'm doing the best that I can. She would say that all the time. So I'm just curious. And so even now when I think about certain things, it's like, dang, we are grown-ups. I'm 32. I'll be 33 in a few months. But it's like, you know what? This is the first time my mom has had a 33-year-old daughter.
Right.
So she's constantly, even though her kids are grown, she's still growing also as a mom, no matter what, because we're constantly growing. So that's why this is a two-part question. So I'm gonna ask you this now and maybe later towards the end. But what did motherhood teach you, early, in motherhood, even just dealing with your son, while they were young? What is something that you kind of found out about yourself through motherhood that maybe you just didn't really see or recognize before? Is there anything?
I think it amplified a little bit of who I was. I think that's what I've always had, this strong personality. When I set my mind to something, I am going to make it happen. I very strong personality. Like I said, when I set my mind on something, I'm gonna make it happen. But I think motherhood, especially my son, amplified that. It gave me the time, I guess, the time to practice or put it into action.
Right.
What I believe, because what I believe for my son, because that's my son, I believe that's right. And even in this season right now,
right,
when he's with his dad, when it first happened, my mom is like, you gotta go to court and you gotta fight for your son.
Right.
And I would think about it and I'm like, damn, is that what I'm supposed to do? And a part of me wanted to, because I wanted nothing more than to be with my son.
Right.
But at the same time, I did say I was biased towards my son. So it was like, what's in his best benefit?
That's good
right?
That you can even.
What is, and it's hard, right? It's hard. Even from an outsider looking in, I'm probably people probably look at me like, damn, how you just left your son?
Right.
Or it's good that you did, So I do believe, to answer your question, I do believe that I've always been like this. It just amplified it. Motherhood just amplified it. And I do want to touch on something that you said with your mom saying she's doing the best that she can. I used to judge my mom a lot, y'all, until I went through certain things in my life, and I realized that she was doing the best that she could with what she had. Even today, there's things that she'll say to me or we'll go through, and I have to remind myself, she's just doing the best.
For sure.
And her best looks like protecting me above all costs. Whether I want to be protected or not, she's going to protect me. She's going to want to protect me.
Yeah. It's her job.
It's so right.
It comes with the territory for her,
Absolutely.
And so, I love that.
So, I want to make sure I answer your question. So yes, I think it just amplified more of who I was, especially because I became a mom so young.
Yeah.
There were some things I had to go through and grow through. Some changes I had to make. I think the mother I was to my son is not the same mom I am to my especially my youngest, but they also have different personalities.
Right.
And we went through different things, and I was in different stages in my life. But the part where you said, she's doing the best that she can and she has no playbook, that's why that mom club is so important. That's why that mom club is a place where a lot of times mom don't know they need it. A lot of times mom they don't realize, like, wait, if I step away for a day or for 2 hours or for a little bit, I will be a better mom when I come back.
Exactly.
A lot of times we don't realize it. And that's why that mom club, I'm like, wait a minute, I just started this to just get together with a few moms. And as I do more and more with it, God is like, this is way bigger than what you think.
It is.
This is way bigger than what like our first event was a vision board party. It was like 6 or 8 of us in December.
Love a vision board party.
I was like, let me do a vision board, and then we did a virtual one. But when I did my pre-launch in February, I'm like, well, God, what do I say to these women?
Right.
Like, please, you speak and work through me, because I don't know.
Right.
And that's when I realized, like, wow, this is more than just moms coming together. This is really a global movement.
It is.
I just released the shirts, so the shirts is for the moms to embody being that mom. So I'm like, get you a shirt. When you put it on, I want you to really be that mom.
Yeah, man.
Right? I really want you to be that mom, like, celebrate the moms. I give awards, the events, the retreat, like, so many. We have a Facebook group. So there's so many different parts to it that moms can tap into it. Like, if there's a mom in California, which there is now, she taps into the Facebook group. If the moms here in Atlanta will attend the events, the retreat is for moms from anywhere. So I have moms flying from different parts of the country to be at the retreat.
To participate.
Yes.
Because the community is needed, obviously, right?
Absolutely, yes.
So let's talk about, Eleni, the entrepreneur, I see that you have a thriving team selling this tea. I don't know much about this, so that's why you're here, though.
I got you.
I want you to just talk about this first, but I do want you to talk about just the beginning of that mom club. How did you start that? Why? How did that come about? I'm just curious to know how it all began for you. But starting with the tea.
So it's funny you say starting with the tea and the products, because that's how it started.
Okay, see, that's
it
good.
Really is how it, like, when I say weight loss was my first transformation, I meant it. I was 240 pounds. 240 pounds. And I wouldn't say, I used to say depressed, but I don't know if it was depression. I think it was very, like, unfulfilled.
Okay.
Right? We had just had the 4th baby. I did not want her, but I needed her.
Right.
Thank you, God, for coming through.
And I want to talk about that later. We're going to go back on that, but go ahead.
I did not want her, but I needed her. She melts my heart every time. That's my baby,
That's
y'all.
a blessing. I love
She
that.
melts my heart. I was mad when I found out, because we had just moved to Texas. I just got a teaching job. Remember I told you I was going to be a teacher? I ended up teaching in Texas for a while. But I'm like, damn, how am I gonna be a first-time teacher now? Have a baby to deal with? But I love that it happened. Yes, that's my baby. But after giving birth, it wasn't right after giving birth to her, I looked good. But it was something that happened and in a matter of like 6 months that I went from my regular weight to 240 pounds. And that caused this heaviness on me. It causes this heaviness on me, very unfulfilled. At that point, I do say I was a monster mom. Okay, so I'm not perfect. I was a monster.
What's a monster mom? A yelling mom?
Yes.
Okay.
Yelling, but it wasn't the children, it was me.
Right.
Like, full-time job, 4 children, home, husband to take care of. My mom was there. Just like, we had been in Texas for, I think, a year or 2 years. So it was a new state, really. Yeah. Just life at that point was very overwhelming. And it was really a monster mom at bedtime. I used to yell at my kids to go to sleep all the time, but because I was so tired of everything I had to do. I didn't know about self-care and journaling. I didn't know about, taking 10 minutes for Eleni. I didn't know any of that. So I do say monster mom at bedtime. But, we still still made it happen. Like, it wasn't like terrible. We went out, we had girls' day, boys' day. So I have 2 boys, 2 girls.
Okay.
So, all the boys would go do something, all the girls would do something. Family time, so it was like, it wasn't a terrible time, but my soul needed something.
For sure.
My soul.
No, you cool.
My soul was unfulfilled, and I gained a lot of weight, 240 pounds. And I was started to try different things. I started changing my eating habits, working out, just little things here and there. And nothing was working, right? Nothing was working at all. I don't know how many women or moms have been there where it's like nothing is working and you're trying everything with weight loss, with parenting, with a marriage,
right,
with with anything. And I was desperate, y'all, and I did what I didn't believe I would do. I went in a Facebook group.
Okay.
And I started like putting my problems out there. I'm like, I keep trying to lose weight, y'all, and it's not working.
Help my sister out,
please. So a lady messages me. And she asked me a whole bunch of questions, and I'm like, I just want to lose weight. Why are you wasting my time with these questions?
Right.
Now I understand. She wanted to get to know me a little bit better, right? She wanted to figure out what I did need, and that's when she introduced me to the products. When I tell you I research every single thing in the world before I put it in I don't even do, I used to not do any type of supplement.
Okay.
But I used to research anything. Like, you would say a word and I don't know the word, I would research it. Like, we would be on the phone, like today, that's how I am.
Yeah.
You would say a word and I would like research, like, let's say integrity, because I see it right here. If I don't know what it means exactly and I'll go and I'll research it. But I was in such a place, and I do believe it was God. I was so desperate that when she told me about it, y'all, I Zelled her the money, I gave her my address, and she shipped me the products. And that was the beginning of a transformation that I had no idea I was going to go through. I had no idea I was going to grow through.
Right.
And I had no idea that I needed. That was the beginning to my weight loss. So first it was the physical weight loss. Yeah. I lost the 70 pounds in 9 months naturally with the products. They're all natural products. So one of them is a cleansing tea. Okay. So it's a natural cleansing tea, very soft. It cleans your liver, intestine, colon. But it helps so much with bloating. Oh my God. We suffer from bloating. Yeah. It helps a lot with constipation. So many women suffer from constipation. They have no idea that it's not normal. They have no idea. And then, like the water weight, and then it helps with the weight loss. It aids in weight loss. That's why it works so well for me, because I wanted to lose weight and it helped me with losing weight. Right. We have over 30 products, but we have our vitamin. I had never taken a vitamin before, y'all. Really? But the lady, never, ever. No gummies, nothing. Okay. But the lady was like, listen, if you're going to cleanse, you need a vitamin. And I was so desperate that I just listened to her. I was like, let's go for it. And like I said, we have like a weight loss, which is the resolution drops. That one helped. That's our real weight loss product. One time I lost 17 pounds in 21 days with it. Okay. And then we're coming out with a new slimming system. It's like the GLP-1, but it's a whole system. So there's no needles. I know that's huge for a lot of people. Right. So I'm very excited about that. But losing the weight was physical, right? And I always talk about everything I gained after losing weight. After I lost the weight, I started my internal transformation. That's where the game changed for me, right? The internal, the higher self-esteem, the confidence, the personal development, reading, expanding my mindset. Okay, and I was going to ask what that looked like. So you said reading, like what else? Personal development, self-help books, right? Self-help books, Think and Grow Rich, Magic of Thinking Big, what's up, Secrets of a Millionaire Mind. So one thing Secrets of a Millionaire Mind says is you have to put yourself in these environments. Okay. So we're not talking about go and book a hotel room at the Ritz-Carlton and spend whatever it is, $1,000. But we're talking about go get you $20, $30, go to the Ritz-Carlton cafe or restaurant, get you a little cup of coffee and just sit there for a minute. Right? Yeah. So a lot of times we're like, well, I can't go over there. I don't have $100, $200, $300, $400. No, but listen, spend $20 on a cup of coffee it's gonna feel weird, but it'll start expanding your mind. Yeah. Right? It'll start expanding your mind. So those are different things. I love traveling, so definitely traveling. Yes, reading was huge. Working out was huge. I hate working out. I really do, y'all. I hate working out. But I know what it does to my body. I do love walking, though.
Okay.
Walking is like my favorite thing.
Right.
I don't listen to music while I walk either. I don't listen to anything. I just allow my mind to either just go or decompress.
Love that.
So walking, and I remember when I was on my weight loss journey, I would have to walk before I came home because I knew as soon as I stepped in the door,
Yeah.
the kids,
It's
the husband, the
time.
homework,
Yeah.
the cleaning, the cooking, it was over. And there were days where I would get my sneakers and I'd be like, Mom, because she was helping us at the time. I'm like, can you please put my sneakers outside the door so I can just grab them? Because if I walked in, it was over.
It's a wrap.
It's a wrap. So definitely being physically active, mentally, emotionally, working on my healing. This is huge, y'all. This is huge. Triggers.
Okay.
Understanding triggers.
Let's talk about it.
Okay.
Okay, let's talk about the understanding of triggers. So people that don't know what triggers are, correct me if I'm wrong. It stems from trauma. Things that have traumatized you. A trigger is something that may happen and bring that back.
Right.
Cause you to react the same way or just go back to that traumatic moment. So let's talk about the triggers. I'm curious to know about the triggers from your point of view.
So, really, you described it very well. But I don't want people to think like a gunshot will be a trigger.
Right.
You can say something to me that can trigger something in me, and now I go through this whole whirlwind, right? So it can come off in different ways. I had to start understanding my triggers. Like if my son did something, if my daughter did something, if I went to the store and the cashier did something, or she was taking too long, or some whenever I was triggered, I really started tapping into that, and I started trying to figure out why am I being triggered, right? Is it something that I have to heal in me? Is it something that I have to work through? Where is it coming from? When was the first time I experienced that? What did I connect that trigger to in my past? But really understanding triggers, really looking deep within. I've been working so hard and looking deep within for so long, and I still do, so really healing through the triggers, really understanding the triggers, really paying attention to them and working through them was huge. Because I would respond to anything and everything. And everything doesn't need a response.
And everything don't need it.
Not even like right now, everything does not need a response.
That's a blessing.
Yes.
Once you can get to that point, it's like, okay, peace.
Exactly. Yes. Peace lives here. And it's a beautiful place to be.
Yeah.
So really understanding the triggers, that was huge, especially for my children. Oh my God. All 4 of them. Because I hate, and I used to say this, and I know I'm going to have to do a lot of work with my son, but I always used to say, I want to raise children that don't have to go to therapy. I don't think I fully succeeded at this point, but I think that I pay more attention to them and their needs than I feel like I was raised with. I let them be more outspoken. I'll ask them questions. There are some things that are non-negotiable, but there are some things that they have a big say in, and if some changes have to be made, they will be made.
But and that's the great thing though about evolution though.
Yes.
Because again, even me and my cousin talk about this a lot. Some of the things that we're doing now, maybe our parents, they would have wanted to do, but they couldn't because, or they just didn't even know, they didn't have the knowledge, the resources, right. They weren't seeing these type of things around them. So, it makes sense that they moved only like this,
right.
Even like you said, right now, some of the stuff, I thank God for my mom. Since I've been young, I can say, Mom, this is how I feel. I don't like that.
Yeah,
this hurt my feelings.
Important.
Opposed to, I'm pretty sure if my grandma might have hit her in the mouth.
Yeah.
There ain't no feelings. Hush your mouth.
Exactly.
Yeah, when I say go, this is my house or whatever, because that's just how it is. So I just thank God for that. And then so to even see my grandmother in those places now, where her grandkids and this and that are being like this, it's like. My mom will say all the time, boy, this grandma y'all got ain't the mama that we had.
I know. That's yes.
You know what I mean?
Yep. My kids go through that too. That whatever they have, that's not the mom that I had.
Right.
Not at all.
So I just want to ask you, like, with the mom club, like you have monthly meetups that you do. You're a wellness coach. Like, what does one get out of this mom club? If they join, thank you. What does one get from joining this mom club?
I believe, and I started it based on 3 pillars.
Okay.
Right? Self-care and healing.
Okay.
Because I do believe that we all need self-care and healing, especially moms. They need a lot of self-care.
For sure.
And they need a lot of healing. And I speak from experience. Like I said, I needed to really heal through my journey. I needed to understand self-care a little bit. Mm-hmm. And self-care is different for everybody. For moms, like for some moms, journaling can be self-care.
Yeah.
For some moms, working out can be self-care. For some moms, walking can be self-care. Mm-hmm. Like when I need a moment, I cannot sit and journal.
Yeah.
It doesn't work for me.
Okay.
I learned, and this is something I'm starting to learn now, is more like your body carries so much energy, carries so much trauma, it carries so many emotions that sometimes you gotta release it. Uh-huh. So like I'll just be home and I'll just start like shaking because I need to release it.
Right.
That's something new that I'm doing now.
Uh-huh.
So the self-care and healing, I do journal a lot. Mm-hmm. Not when I'm going through, but like when I have a moment or I need to process things, I do something called the brain dump. Mm-hmm. When I'm overwhelmed, I'll literally take a piece of paper and I'll put everything on the paper.
Yeah.
Like just brain dump. And I'll feel so much better. Mm-hmm. I went to school for psychology. It's called catharsis.
Okay.
Like
the technical terms.
It's called catharsis. When you release everything, you feel so much better. Mm. That's why venting sessions are so important for people. Okay. That's why, like, if you have a fight with your boyfriend, right, or your husband or whatever, right, he'll call you. He'll say, or females, they'll say everything they have to say.
Yeah.
They'll be on the phone for an hour just letting loose. And then when they're done, hey, you want to go do something?
It just feels better that I let it out.
Because you got it out.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's catharsis, y'all. That's the word for y'all.
Okay.
So self-care and healing, weight loss and fitness. Mm-hmm. So that's why I said this was part of my transformation. Mm-hmm. Weight loss, I know a lot of moms after having a baby, they struggle with weight loss.
Right.
They struggle with, knowing what to eat, with working out. They struggle with getting themselves back on track. Like when I lost the weight, I felt so much better. Like I had to throw out all my big clothes. I had to start learning how to dress. There were a lot of things that I had to do. That's why it's a transformation. Mm-hmm. I'll be honest with you. It wasn't just losing the 70 pounds. Mm-hmm. It was everything that came after that. Mm-hmm. It was joining the business after that as well. Joining TLC. Mm-hmm. So that's why weight loss and fitness is a big part of it. We do challenges every month. Depending on what your goals are, we have the products that match your goals. Mm-hmm. And then the money mindset. The money mindset is everything that has to do with finances, like fixing your credit, saving money, budgeting. One time I paid off $15,000 in 18 months of debt, so different things that are going to help. And we have the Facebook group, right? So we have over 200, close to 300 members in the Facebook group. So that's our hub. I'm restructuring it now, but I'm very excited because I'm going to be doing challenges, right? So people can be engaged, and they can have something to follow. And, it's like, okay, well, if you don't want to lose weight, but you want to do something with self-care, great. If you want to, if you need to journal this week, great. That's where you go to find it. Mm-hmm. I already spoke about the money mindset. So we have the Facebook group. Then we have the monthly events. The monthly events are a little bit different. So with the monthly events, that's our time for us to go and moms to go and connect with each other and really detach from the world.
For sure.
For at least 2 hours. It's our time for us to, whether we're going to eat or, have a little drink or whatever it is, it's our time for us to not have to worry about making somebody food. We can go to the bathroom without somebody knocking on our door. We can laugh, we can hang out, network. Like there's moms that have met and they, now they're putting events together. Mm-hmm. They're just doing different things coming from that group. I give an award every month. Okay. So one of our awards, yes, I give awards every month. So one of our awards went to Toya, Toya Johnson. Okay. Yes.
Okay. The Toya Johnson.
Yes, the Toya Johnson. We gave her an award. Another award went to this lady named Carlene, the Perfect Arch. I don't know if you know her. She was at the event.
Oh, was she?
So yeah, she was at the event, low cut. She has, and I always try to make sure I say this right. She has the only permanent makeup school in Georgia.
Okay.
So big deal, right? But
Big
she
deal.
may not. I mean, she got a good amount of followers, but she may not be like a celebrity.
Right.
But when I tell you, since I've recently met her, like her house flooded last year. Her mom recently passed away. She's in TLC and she has succeeded. They've been living in a hotel for the last, I don't know, 6-8 months.
Wow.
But she shows up, y'all, every single day. She shows up the way she cares and the way she loves people, you know, and still running her business and running her school and still running her, you know, her TLC business. So we gave her an award last month. It was, for me, I love giving awards because I'm recognizing the people that are doing it.
Yeah.
You know, we gave Bree Nicole and Ashley White from the Boss Mom movement. You familiar with them?
I'm familiar with Bree Nicole.
Bree Nicole, yes.
Yes, and that Boss Mom movement. You know, I've just been following that for a while.
Yes. So we gave them an award. So the awards, we have the monthly events. We have the retreat in June.
Let's talk about the retreat.
Okay, let's talk about the retreat.
I just want to know, it's coming up. It's on a Thursday, which I love. Thursday, June 12th.
Yes.
Tell me about this retreat. You know, why was it important for you to put this together? What can they expect here? Will there be another one? And then just kind of wrap up. Also, just at the end of all that, tell us where we can follow you, stay connected with you. Where can we get this bomb shirt? All of that good stuff. Okay.
So the retreat, the theme of it is release, restore, and rise. So in our community, something that I'm very big on, and I do this at every event, is the release. When we had our pre-launch event in February, I had everybody, as soon as they walked in, they had to write something they wanted to release on a piece of paper.
Love it.
And I told them, you cannot pick this back up. This is something you gotta let go, like really let go of. Don't pick it back up. Don't, you know, try to talk to your best friend about it tomorrow. Let it go. Right? So they wrote it on, let it go. They wrote it on a piece of paper. It was like, I think it was like 30 or 40 of us. I took everybody's, even the photographers, I took everybody's, and at the end of the event, I burned it. So it was really a release. You know, it's very big on the release. So release is really to just like let go of the things that are weighing you down, because I know what it is to carry stuff that weighs us down.
Yeah, man.
Restore is really to tap back into you. You know, like what parts of me do I need to get back into? Or what parts of me do I know are there, but I've left it hidden?
Yeah.
And I need to go back and bring it back up, you know? And then the rise is rising in our power. Yes, rising in our power. As moms, we give our power to everything.
And everybody.
Yes, in every way, whether it's our job, our partner, our children, traffic, like we'll spend all this energy on all these things, but we need to rise within ourselves. We need to rise in our power. And I have a dynamic speaker coming for lunch.
Okay.
I actually, y'all will be the first to hear who it
Let's
is.
hear it.
So and I don't even have, let me tell y'all, I
love this.
I've sold probably like 90% of the tickets.
And I seen you say that.
Yes.
That you did not put no main speakers out there because you want the tickets. Okay, so this is a real exclusive. I seen that. So I'm so excited.
Yes. So Dayani Walker is the speaker for our lunch experience. She is, do you know Circle of CEOs?
Circle of CEOs.
Neil Davis and him 500, her 500.
I will get acquainted after this.
Okay, so she is part of the circle of, she's part of their network, right?
Okay.
She has created this thing called Lovepreneur. So basically it's businesses, marriage, and relationships coming together. How to balance it, how to, you know, make it work through everything. Because a lot of times you have a business and you're like, damn, I have to give up on my marriage, or I have to put my marriage or relationship to the side.
For real.
Right? So she's created a platform where you can bridge both, and you can have a successful business and you can have a successful marriage. Homeschooling, technically unschooling mother of 2.
Okay.
Very, 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 very big on family.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I tell you, she's very big on, like, her family is everywhere with her. Her and her husband travel together.
I love that.
Even for the retreat, she was like, I just want you to know that my husband is coming with me. She's like, he may not be with us when we're doing everything, but he'll be there.
That's what's up.
Yes, so I love that.
That's
right?
a
I love
blessing.
that. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So she very dynamic speaker. I mean, they're business owners, very big in real estate. But yes, you know, I want moms to choose a retreat for themselves.
Mm-hmm. And even what you said, even her bringing her husband can be great for other moms to see.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like, even if you're a single mom, you know, the Lord got somebody that will support you in your community and still allow you to be a mom with your mom friends. It's not all about this, like, because you gotta have the balance. You know what I'm saying? Absolutely. So where can we stay in contact with you? Where can we stay connected with you? Where can we follow you? Where can we get one of these amazing shirts? Please give us your Instagrams and your websites, all that good stuff.
So, my Instagram is Eleni Arguello, ELENIARGUELLO, Eleni Arguello. I'm building that mom club Instagram, y'all. So if y'all go on there, there's only one post, but follow it because June 1st we're releasing. Like, that's when we're gonna start. So on Instagram, it's that mom club official. And now that we have a trademark, we're gonna get that mom club period done. Everybody,
I'm so excited for you.
Yes. So, like I said, my personal Instagram is Eleni Arguello, ELENIARGUELLO. That Mom Club Official is the community Instagram. We have a Facebook group. It's That Mom Club. So THATMOMCLUB. Facebook group. Our website, thatmomclub.com. That is where you can get these amazing shirts. And my goal is to sell the shirts out, but my goal is to have all moms wearing the shirts. Like, your mom could wear the shirt. Your aunt, if she's a mom, could wear the shirt. Because it represents a global movement.
It is.
Right? It's not, I call it the essential tee because I don't want people to just think it's a shirt.
Right.
It's more than a shirt.
It is, though.
It's a statement. It's a movement. It's a lifestyle. And when you wear it, I want you to really feel like that mom. And then the name That Mom came from, you know how they say I'm that girl? Well, I'm that mom.
Period. I get what you're throwing out there.
Yes. So that's where it came from. So when they be like, I'm a girl's girl, well, I'm a mom's mom. You know, like, we're flipping it all to that mom. Yeah, so I love it. So I think I got it all, right? Yes. Thatmomclub.com. You can get the shirts there, but that's our website. Follow us on Instagram. Join the Facebook group. Definitely come to one of our events. Come to every event. Come to the retreat. And whatever we can do to serve the moms, like, that's what we're here for.
Amen, girl. Any last minute anything that you'd like to say for moms or anybody tuned in just before we wrap out, because I'm gonna close after this?
So I do want to say, like I said, there was 2 major transformations in my life. One was the weight loss. One was leaving my husband. Leaving him was a very, very hard decision because I never thought I would. I never in my life thought I would leave my husband. But when God made it very clear that it was time to go, it was very clear it was time to go. And like I said, I've always had amazing support, but I know a lot of people who are putting themselves last, right? Or putting themselves second or third or fourth to something else. I want to encourage all moms to really, really tap into, and that's why that Mom Club is designed the way it is. Self-care and healing, weight loss and transformation, money mindset. One thing I didn't touch on is the TLC opportunity. Like, it's actually a business you can make money from. So when I left my husband, I was a stay-at-home mom, but TLC is what held me, right, through the entire time. It's what, that's what I was making money with. You know, and I still make money with TLC today. So I want to encourage everybody to find your purpose, find you, tap into you, take care of you, love on you, pour into you. And if you don't know how to pour into you, find some place like that Mom Club to get poured into until you learn how to pour into you. I didn't know how to pour into myself at first.
Right.
I found some safe places to pour into me. Now I know how to pour into me, right? So yes, definitely so many people are out here and they feel alone. There's so many times I felt alone. If you feel alone, I promise you, just come to one of our events, just message me, reach out to me. We got your bag, get a shirt, buy the products, join the business. Like, it's not just products, we have a whole community, right? TLC is an entire community. I'm part of an amazing team. My TLC coach she is phenomenal.
Yeah.
When I tell you she is, like, I really picked one of the best coaches out there when I joined TLC. But really, a lot of us need a place to belong.
For sure.
And I want to make sure that mom club is open to all moms so they can feel like they belong.
Amen. Thank you so much, Eleni, for just coming here, for marching boldly in your purpose, and just for creating a community where moms can come and feel comfortable and thrive and have confidence while doing it, you know? So thank you very much.
My pleasure. Anytime. Hopefully they bring me back, y'all.
Yes, listen, you coming back, and you come back. We'll be staying, we'll be working. Okay, but everyone tuned in, just thank you so much. Make sure you show Eleni some love, support her movement, follow her on all platforms. Make sure you also continue to follow Ladies in Motion on all platforms, where we will be continuing to shine light on the women's winning in the local community, whether it's Vegas, Atlanta, Central Florida, North Carolina, Chicago. We done had them from everywhere. Okay, the Dominican Republic. We got queening all over the world, y'all. So just make sure you stay tuned, and I'll see you back again here next week. Before I go, I have to give a huge shout out to Save Healing Incorporated in Royal Kushite. They're having a back to school giveaway, and we're prepping for it now. The kids, they barely out of school now, but we already putting the message out there right now that we're doing this back to school drive. So if you'd like to be a part of that, whether it's monetary, you want to volunteer, you want to donate some school supplies, just look at the number on the screen. Okay, and you can follow or email savehealinginc@gmail.com. Okay, and that's where you can get some details then. Okay, so call the number on the screen, send a message to that email, and just stay tuned for more Women That's Winning, Queening in a city near you. Bye.